On the very onset week of monsoon this year, we experienced extreme amount of rainfall events. We lost nearly around 31 hydropower stations. 15 of them had been completed and they'd been providing more than 500 megawatts of energy into our national grid system. Another 15 of them were under construction. All these sustained major damages, the amount of which is, in a financial perspective, it's more than 10 billion Nepali rupees. This is not one exceptional year itself. Just take the case of year 2021. We've lost one of our major water supply projects that would have brought in water from an interbasin transfer from a Melamchi River basin into Kathmandu. We've lost more than 20 years of gain on that. Our headworks for Melamchi is nearly under a 24-meter rubble that came down because of a debris flow that we'd never imagined in the last decade or so. We also experienced large-scale floods in trans-Himalayan districts and locations, which would have never experienced more than 120 or 200 millimeters of rainfall. The very year, we also witnessed an extreme amount of forest fires that never we witnessed in the past memory of our lifetime. It was nearly catastrophic. We were lucky just because we had rain just happened to come in, and we were fortunate. We can't be fortunate all the time. Just before the harvesting season, we experienced a widespread floods and extreme flow of rivers in the Tarai. Millions worth of damage has been incurred. So from a financial perspective, we've also started incurring increased amount of, again, damage and loss for infrastructures, but also livelihood in agriculture, cattle, and also leads to diseases. A fourth kind of disasters that we experienced in 2021 was an unprecedented dengue fever even in the mountainous districts of Nepal, which is really a surprise for us. Again, how would mosquitoes even reach up to those mountainous areas? So just by reflecting these 4 years, we could see that these four signature kind of disasters that were never experienced before is a telling tale that there's a massive disruption in the Himalayan system. The climate change is largely to be attributed to this issue. Now, if you go and talk to people in the mountains, the Sherpa, they would clearly tell you, just by comparing what their fathers saw it and what they're seeing currently, is a massive recession of the glaciers. If you reflect the last 30 plus years in Nepal, our assumption back then was, again, if we'd plant trees, which is now we have more than 40%, it's going to solve most of these problems. We'll not be experiencing landslides, perhaps a less amount of floods. But there's a limit to adaptation. Adaptation alone itself cannot be a panacea for these increasing catastrophic disasters. Our current way of designing roads, our current way of designing bridges are not able to accommodate those large extreme events. We're losing around 5,000 houses a year just because of floods, landslides, and debris flow. Jajakot, this area that was affected by earthquake, is a very remote. We've lost nearly around 62,000 houses. They're completely damaged, that needs to be reconstructed. These areas are battered by every year by monsoon floods and landslides, also once in a while also droughts. We're also happy to know that loss and damage has been approved, and the first batches of financing has been contributed by quite a number of countries. But the key question is, again, how do we get access, a priority access to these financing and perhaps a substantial amount of money to cover some of these reconstruction and recovery expenses. A plan been drafted to undertake a multi-hazard risk assessments that includes all these kind of hazards, all the way ranging from GLOF to floods, landslides, debris, forest fires to earthquakes. And so this requires quite increased amount of investments to even understand risk. I'd like to urge the world leaders to really prioritize Nepal for investments, increase investments to such risks. A Himalayan country like Nepal needs more attention. We are at risk, our livelihood is at risk. So to address this, We need finances and this technical support, not at the national level, but also at the provincial and the local levels.
विपद बारे चासो राखौं, चनाखो बनौं। राष्ट्रिय विपद जोखिम न्यूनीकरण तथा व्यवस्थापन प्राधिकरण।